to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Debbie Georgiani along with Jerry Usher, and that was Jerry Usher just waving on Facebook Live and YouTube, so you can join us there as well. But we hope you take an hour and you spend it with us, because we want to take a fresh look at ourselves and the world around us, and that's what we do on Take Two, and it's all because of you. You drive the show. We're going to dive right into this topic, because I know, we do know, everybody has something to say about this. It's communication. That's what we're talking about today. But Jerry, I'm excited about starting off the week with this topic, because I really believe our listeners will learn something from today's discussion.
Well, they may learn something about themselves that they may have known but weren't really all that conscious of, and they can certainly teach other people as well. You really do inspire a lot of others when you call with your take at 1-800-585-9396. Now, I'm just going to start with asking a question. Who remembers the song Operator by Jim Croce? Debbie, I know you remember that song.
Yes. Yes, I do.
Okay, yeah, Jim Croce is talking to actually a former love in his life, and he's trying to get the operator on the phone to try to, find the right number and get a hold of her. And at the end of the show, they're unsuccessful, and he says, "You can keep the dime." Okay. So how many of you listening today, do you remember? What we're talking about is, how do you stay in touch with those you love when you're away from home? Do you remember those days when you had to go to a phone booth, sometimes in a really weird-looking part of town, and drop a dime in there and call your wife or husband or your kids or your grandkids when you were away from home, just to make sure you stayed connected and told everybody you loved them?
I think it's hilarious now when you go to a quick stop store or a 7-Eleven or something like that, and you still see the phone booths there, but it's all been disconnected. Have you seen that?
Right.
Yeah.
Or the remnants of the phone booth, maybe the little square outline on the cement or something where the booth was.
Exactly. But how do you stay in touch nowadays with your loved ones, your friends, your maybe your spouse? Maybe you travel for work. How do you stay in touch? Now, we know that there's FaceTiming and texting, and you could pick up the phone the old-fashioned way and call, maybe from the hotel room or something like that, or Skype. Skype is a great way. How do you do it? How do you stay in touch? Because we know that when you want to continue to develop the relationship or stay connected, there's got to be a way you communicate with those people that you love. So we want to hear from you, because maybe you have a very unique way of doing it. Maybe it's very personal to you and the people around you, your circle of friends. But we would like to learn. We'd like to tap into your wisdom. Here's the number, 1-800-585-9396.
Well, and technology has made it virtually unthinkable that we would not be in touch, I would think, at least every day with your spouse, maybe your kids, your grandkids. Maybe you're a grandparent who lives some distance away from those beautiful little grandkids that you love, and you get to just get on FaceTime with them every day, or maybe once a week, couple times a week, something like that. 1-800-585-9396. And I know we have a number of people listening, like me and Debbie, who remember the days of the phone booth and the dime or the quarter, and maybe you just recall how all of this has changed and evolved, and you just have a take to share on how it has just made your life so much better, so much more beautiful, that you're able to be in touch with your loved ones on a regular basis.
And you may have just tripped onto this station, and here comes the show, Take Two, and you're wondering, how does this relate to your spirituality? Well, it really does. Because in the old days, if you will, a lot of families stayed within a couple mile radius of one another. And now it's not like that. We have people spread all across the country, all across the world. And it's important for us to stay connected to the ones that are fellow believers and are part of our Christian family and our immediate family. So please take a very interesting look at this, and you'll see by the end of the show that it really does enhance your spirituality. 1-800-585-9396.
Okay, 1-800-585-9396. Calls are starting to come in right now. And the one part of the show that Debbie and I absolutely hate, we love about, what's the show, 55 minutes? We love 54 minutes and 59 seconds of it. But that very end, when we have to leave people on the line, so we want to make sure you get in with your take. How do you stay connected with your loved ones, family members, friends, and so forth? When you're traveling, when you're out on the road, what technologies do you use?
Christ is the answer, with Father John Riccardo.
Maybe we need to ask ourselves, do we really know Jesus? Maybe another way to ask that would be, how familiar are you with the Gospels? When I was living in D.C., I was on the plane taking a late flight home, sitting next to a young girl. She was probably 16, 17. I had my collar on, and we got talking, and she said somehow in the course of the conversation, she acknowledged that she was running away from home and was in the midst of an awful lot of difficulties that were going on. Her story seemed to be remarkably akin to the story of the prodigal son, which we just heard this past Sunday at Mass, And so I started to speak a little bit about that with her. And I said, you sound a little bit like the younger son in the story of the prodigal son. And she looked at me like I was from Mars. And I said, are you not familiar with the story of the prodigal son? And she says, no, never heard it. And I just looked at her and I says, oh my goodness, are you in for a wonderful evening?
The National Catholic Register is America's most complete Catholic news source with a comprehensive view of the world from a distinctly Catholic perspective. If it's shaping the world as we know it, you'll find it at ncregister.com.
We know you like listening to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio, but have you thought about bringing them to your next event? No matter what type of event you're hosting, parish mission, conference, or retreat, trust Jerry and Debbie to make it come alive. Begin the process today of taking your presentation to the next level of success. For information on booking Jerry and Debbie, visit take2show.com, click on the J&D logo.
Hi, this is Dan Burke from the National Catholic Register.
Hello, this is Bishop David O'Connell of the Diocese of Trenton.
Hi, this is Teresa Tomeo, host of Catholic Connection, and thanks for listening to the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
We're so glad you're with us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're going to go right to the phones, and I just realized I believe the Skype is not on. I just got disconnected from Skype, so I'm just going to keep going and make sure. Jerry, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, good. My Skype just went down, and it's actually showing the Bitmoji showing "Have a good weekend." Jerry, I'm not already thinking it's "Have a good weekend." I just want to let you know that.
Well, I saw a meme come across my Twitter feed the other day, and it was really cute. This lady kind of sort of leaning back, reclining on a sofa, saying, "It's the first 5 days after the weekend that are the toughest."
Well, it was so funny because I checked on YouTube to say hi to the chat on YouTube, and I saw it says, "Have a good weekend," and I'm thinking that the YouTube family must be thinking, boy, she is really off her rocker today. But anyway, but if Rich could reconnect me on Skype, I would love to see everybody, so that would be great. So can we go right to the phones? I'm excited, Jerry. Let's got almost almost full phone lines. So, okay, so up first would be Janet. Is it Janice? Am I saying that correctly?
Renee is first.
Okay, Renee is first. There you go. I'm sorry. Renee in Michigan, listening online. Hi, Renee. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Hi, Renee.
Hi, Debbie. Hi, Debbie. Hope you're well today. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you. Thank you for calling. So what do you think about this topic?
I'll just be quick. We have a situation in our family. We've got three boys who are either entering into or leaving college, so the family has grown and everybody's kind of going their separate ways. And just a couple of weeks ago, our oldest moved across the country, and everybody was a little upset that the family's kind of being separated in that way, and we want to stay connected. So what we did was just create a secret Facebook group, because we're all on Facebook. But this way we can communicate and send pictures, and nobody else sees anything, but rather than everybody individually texting and calling and things like that, which we still do, but this is a way to say, this is what we're doing, this is what you're doing, and it will help us stay together. So that was just our little idea.
I love
I
it.
love
What
it.
do you-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just said the same thing.
Secret Facebook groups. Okay, so that means that no one from the public can tap into that. You have to be invited to it, and then you all interact. Right? Oh, how many do you have in the secret group?
Just our immediate family, my husband and I, and our 3 boys. And that's
Wow, I love it.
it. Yeah.
Jerry, we
Yeah,
can
because
form a
the
group.
younger boys are getting upset that, oh my gosh, our brothers, this is real. It's the end of an era, one of them said. And I thought, oh, what can we do? You know, just stick together. And I thought, well, that's one thing.
Now, do you get does everybody participate pretty eagerly and enthusiastically?
Yeah, well, it's only been about a week.
Oh, okay.
He moved away about a week ago, and the second one kind of went with him to help him. He's coming back today. So it is new, but I feel like I'm a big picture taker and communicator in that way. So hopefully if I keep up my end of it, they'll reciprocate and we'll continue. We'll see, but at least we have a means, so we're giving it a try.
Right. I love it. I think and then you'll be able to keep everything because you'll post pictures, and so it'll become like a family album. I really love that idea.
Right. And that's what I kind of like about, Facebook and other things like that, is because like you said, it's there that you can look back and remember, and I think that's why a lot of people use it anyway,
Right.
So,
I'm glad you
thank
shared
you.
it, Renee. I'm glad you shared it. There's probably tons of families listening right now that are going to all of a sudden have their own family secret group, and I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Very
I
nice,
hope
Renee.
so. Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Renee.
you. Bless you. Take 2 with Jerry and Debbie. We're talking today. A lot of us are on the road a lot. And Debbie, sometime during the show, I'm going to ask how you and Marty prefer to stay connected when you are traveling or when he was traveling. But dear listeners, when you go away from home, maybe it's just for you got to go away for a weekend to take care of something, or maybe you're like me or like Debbie, you travel for a week at a time. Sometimes I'm away from home for several weeks at a time. And if there are people back home that you miss, that you love, that you want to tell them that you love them, technology has given us countless ways of being able to do that right now without putting a dime in a payphone and standing there on a street corner somewhere, sometimes in the freezing rain or the falling snow. So how does modern technology enable you to stay connected to those you love? 1-800-585-9396. All right, who's next?
It is Sylvia listening in Victorville, California on Sirius XM. Hi, Sylvia. Welcome to Take 2 with Jerry and Debbie.
Good morning, and thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I'm traveling right now for a doctor's appointment, and when I get where I'm going, I have to call my husband and tell him I made it safely. But I was telling the other man screening, I said, my mom and I used to call each other every other week. I would call her one week, and the next week she would call me. And since she lived on the East Coast, as well as my younger brothers, I connected to them through her. But once she passed away, the calls got fewer and fewer. And just recently, we started texting each other when great events started happening in the family, or if we were coming back to the East Coast and we get together. And we just had a reunion just not long ago, the first one since my father passed in 2009. And it was a blessing, believe me. It was wonderful.
Yeah, nothing can beat face-to-face being, especially with family and siblings and so forth. And, unfortunately, sometimes it'll happen sometime after a parent passes away or some unfortunate family situation, but also, of course, with holidays and family get-togethers and so forth. But I think that's beautiful, Sylvia, that you had that regular phone relationship with your mom. I did, too. My mother passed away about 3 years ago, and we would talk probably about once a week. We lived, I'd say, about 1,500 miles apart. And I'm the only one in the family who was never married, so she was kind of like, I don't know, the love of my life, if you can put it that way. So, Debbie, I think it's beautiful that she had that relationship with her mom.
Oh, absolutely. And Sylvia, when my mom used to live in New Jersey before I moved her out to Arizona, we used to speak every day. every single day, even if it was just for a couple seconds, just to keep connected. And I love that as well. I think it is wonderful to take that time. It shows that you care, and I think it's important. Here's the thing: in this day and age, when everything is at our fingertips and it's so quick to be able to shoot off a text or do something like that or social media, and it's so quick to do it, to actually take the time to really call somebody and know and really show them that you're willing to share that time, that precious time with them. I think it just shows how much love you have in your heart. I love it. Sylvia, way to go. What do you think?
Bless you all.
Oh,
thank you, Sylvia. Yeah, keep listening there in Victorville. We appreciate that very much. Debbie, I know you and I have both known people, especially older people, who really have children maybe spread out all over the country. And
right.
I've heard people say to me, you ask them, well, are you in touch with them? Do you talk to them? No, I don't hear from them very often. Maybe at Christmas or something. Mm-hmm. And I just want to cry. I mean, isn't it just sad? I mean,
well, can I just share something? My husband and I actually had this conversation last night because we were having dinner and we were talking. He said, "What's the show going to be on tomorrow?" And I shared with him what it was. And he goes, "It's kind of interesting, Deb." He goes, "Have you ever thought about this?" And I said, "What?" And he said, "What happens if the both of us were to die tonight? People probably wouldn't find us for like a week because nobody calls anymore. Nobody." And I thought,
your mom would find out.
My mom. So Jerry, you're instructed. You better make sure that if nobody reaches us after a day or two, somebody better check the house. Isn't that sad though when you think about it? I wonder how many people feel that way.
Well, let's get some more takes on this. Staying in touch with the ones you love while you're away from home. Janice is in Pretty Lake, Indiana, listening on Redeemer Radio. Hi, Janice. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Oh, hi. God bless both of you. You put a lump in my throat there, Jerry, whenever you said your mom was the love of your life.
Oh, thanks.
That's incredibly deep. That's very rich, and that's rich with kind of what this society needs, I guess. But anyways, all of the people in my life, my family, they're all the love of my life, meaning extended family beyond just our two children. And because we've not lived there in the same city for almost 40 years now, but my answer is just simple. It's prayer. I just feel as though that's my best way to stay connected because everybody's lives are so busy, and I think I see the fruit of it, especially in little people that have no idea that they don't even know what prayer is yet. But when you see that little look in their eye and they've never even met you before, or you know what I mean, it just confirms it. I mean, to me, it's just so surreal that God is exactly who He says He is. So at communion, and I, try to do daily communion as much as I can. I just always offer that visit, and I think God has the power to take that. I know there's little cliches like the best email there is an email, or any of those. I'm just not good with all those little quotes and things, but I think that truth of prayer pretty much trumps anything else out there. So that's my little simple way. But anyway, sorry it's a little bit emotional, but you really put a lump in my throat there, both comments that you have both made, because if all the phones weren't there, or even when they are there, we always still have prayer. And that's all. God bless you both. Thank you for your show.
Thank you, Janice. Thank you so much. Actually, I was going to ask you about as you were welling up with emotion. I was going to ask you where that comes from, and we share in that because I think you sharing about how important it is for prayer. I think there's help me with this, guys. Jerry and Janice, help me with this. Are we sensing that there's a bit of a disconnect in the world, and maybe that when we hear that people really do care, it starts to make it feel right again? I sometimes feel like this world is just is splintering. It's just splintering apart. What do you think, Janice?
Well, I just think from a certain, not so much teenage, because I find with a lot of younger college-age kids, especially that are still very Catholic connected, they search you out. They'll be across the church and they just know because they're still connected. But I think people are so busy. They're just so busy. And mean to not be prayerful, or they don't have the time to, you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like, why can't we be Martha and Mary at the same time if we're, you know, retired from our jobs or being grandmas? You know, like I always tease, there's a Hail Mary in every meatball, because there is. You just
there's a what? A what,
Janice? A Hail Mary. Well, I was kind of saying.
Oh, a Hail Mary.
Italian. Yeah, like I was saying it like an old grandma would
say.
Okay.
Hail Mary.
Right.
Hail Mary.
Yeah, in every meatball, yes. You know, in every weed that you pick, in every brush of the paint stroke. So there's all those relatives that, to me, that's who I am as family. And I just, you know, when I said I didn't know I wasn't going to be there by them, you know. So you just start praying, and I've done it for so many years, and it's just so rich with God and faith. And yes, I think it is missing in our society, but I don't think it's necessarily their fault. They haven't gotten there yet. Like the readings on Sunday, right? That they just talk about like the Spirit, you know, and how that moves you. Right, yeah, I apologize.
Right. But no, Janice, don't ever apologize. We love passion and emotion, love it. So don't ever apologize for that. But Janice, here's the thing: when they did a study one time of people on their deathbed, one of the things that most of the people said before they were ready to die is that they wish they hadn't been so busy in this world. And you use that key term about being busy, and think how many times we may all. I have said it with when my kids were little. They would want something, and I'd say, "I'm busy." You know, it was such an easy out. I'm busy, and it's unfortunate because when they did the study, it means nothing in the end. And we really taking the time means. I think the blessings. That's where the blessings will flow.
Yeah. Well, I guess the economy, right? They say it's so tough. I'm not sure how that is, but it's tough to make your dollar go as far as you need to right now. So many young people have to work, but then they have to work to keep up with the means that the media and the TV and the magazines and everybody tells you that you need. And, you know, so they're just busy. They don't have time for a phone call or a text, and you don't want to tramp on their toes. So I think the best way is just that silent prayer of every day trying to remember them. And to me, the convenience of Mass, that's your half an hour where you are completely committed, and it's just, if you have the ability to go, wow, there's such richness in, well, whatever. Everything I'm saying, all your listeners know, it's the people that aren't listening, maybe we pray for them, that one day they understand that power of prayer. You know, so anyways, God bless you all again. Thank you so much for your show. And I just happened to be driving in the car to a dentist appointment.
Oh.
So I was able to listen, and I don't get to listen very often. So God bless you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bless you too, Janice. Thank you. And Janice brought something I think very important into this. That's, you know, we're all connected in and through Christ. If we're all in Christ as the body of Christ, then that is certainly one way of you know, maybe not directly speaking to somebody, but going to them through Christ, through the vine. We are all the branches, and reaching out and touching somebody. And I just wanted to mention to all of our listeners, Debbie, you mentioned, again, we always tell our listeners who show a little bit of emotion and maybe feel uncomfortable about that. On July 24th, that's going to be our topic, actually, is wearing your feelings on your sleeve. Are you comfortable showing emotion? So get ready, folks, because we want to hear. A lot of people who call this show, Debbie, get emotional and then they apologize. And I know that you and I both actually find it a very beautiful part of what people are sharing on the program.
We do. We absolutely do. And Jerry and I we love showing emotion because we believe that is part of our God-given gifts. And we want you to feel that way too. And so if you feel comfortable enough to laugh or shed a tear or maybe slightly raise your voice, just slightly. We don't want to have a ruined week, but but you know what? That's what life's all about. We are showing our emotion, and that's passion, and that's a good thing, especially when it's directed to wanting to help other souls. Okay, next up is Pat, and Pat's been waiting so patiently in Fort Wayne, Indiana, on Redeemer Radio. Hi, Pat. Welcome to Take Two.
Hello there. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Doing
Pat.
well,
How
Pat.
are you?
I want to, first off, thank Jerry for the wonderful job he does at our Redeemer Share-a-thon.
Oh, thank you, Pat. You're very kind.
And I have talked to you. You probably don't remember me, but I volunteered there.
Well, I'm sure I would remember you if I saw you, Pat.
Yeah, well, the next cheer-a-thon, I'll make myself known.
Okay.
Anyway, I wanted to talk about how my parents met. It was during World War II, and did you fly into the Bearfield Airport? Jerry,
I believe I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of it, yeah. But
Yeah, Bearfield. Well, that used to be for the military, and my father flew in there, and my mother worked there, and that's how they met. Well, after that...
Pat, if I can get you to hold that thought just for a second here, I apologize. We're going to get a quick break here that we cannot move, and we can't wait to hear what you have to say. I can already hear the beautiful story that's coming, Pat, so please stay with us. And then we have Joan and James talking about how you stay connected with those you love while you're away on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Dr. Ray Guarendi.
Manners aren't just for kids. How do you ask nice? What's the magic word? Parents put a lot of effort into teaching manners, and that's good. Manners is a great first impression. Unfortunately, kids don't use them all the time. Why do we get lazy with manners as we get older? Especially with those closest to us. Your spouse, your mother, okay, your mother-in-law. How often do you say please? Guys, did you just say, hey, give me a cup of coffee, would you? Oh, yeah, it's nice because you put it in a question. How about, please, could you get me a cup of coffee? Manners show dignity in relationships. I will treat you with etiquette, which translates so often into respect.
This is Father Stephen Imperato of Priests for Life with a pro-life update. We all know that abortion happens daily in our nation, but most people do not know what happens to the bodies. Thrown away in the garbage, flushed down the sewer, or incinerated like common trash, these bodies are subjected to disrespect even after they have died. But at over 40 grave sites across America, aborted babies whose remains were found have been given respectful burials. Some of these graves contain thousands of bodies. On the second Saturday of September, designated as National Day of Remembrance, these children will be honored by memorial services that take place simultaneously at these burial sites. This event is sponsored by Priests for Life, Pro-Life Action League, and Citizens for a Pro-Life Society. Please visit abortionmemorials.com to learn more about this special day and to find the nearest memorial service. This is Father Stephen Imperato on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. Today our topic is staying connected. So many ways that we can do that. Visually, through the computer, Skype, FaceTime. You can even do this on our phones, probably on our watches. I don't have one of those fancy new watches, but we could be walking along down the road.
Get smart.
Like Get Smart. Yeah, I don't know if shoe phones, I don't know, internet, texting. How do you do it? How do you send love home from where you are out on the road there to the ones that really matter in your life? Get a hold of us. Share your take at 1-800-585-9396. And we're visiting with Pat in Fort Wayne. Pat, I apologize for the interruption there, but please feel free to continue along with this story about your parents.
Okay, anyway, my dad was in the military. My mom worked out at Bearfield, so they met. And so then, of course, he left, and I'm sure they were communicating through the mail. Well, when the war was over, he went to live with his sister and husband, and this one time he was feeling really sad. So his brother-in-law says, "Give me some money." And he went and got change, and he came back and he says, "Call Vivian." That was my mom. So they used the phone booth to call my mom.
Wow. But you know what? You brought up a good thing about letters, because they are just, they're pretty much extinct now. I mean, when you get a letter in the mail from a friend, you're thinking, uh-oh, what is this all about?
Yeah.
Instead of, that's really interesting. So then your dad he had to call your mom,
yeah,
and he had to
speak.
They
made communications, and then then they got back together, and he traveled here to Fort Wayne, Indiana to marry her.
Oh,
from Brooklyn.
Beautiful. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And they stayed in Fort Wayne, Pat, because you were raised there.
And a sideline to this is my dad was Catholic and my mother was Methodist, and they got married. And of course, Mom had to give more than my dad, but she was the best Methodist Catholic you ever saw.
Oh. What are your parents' names? Can we enter them into the book?
Oh yeah, it's Vivian and Tom. They're both dead now, but that
Vivian
would be great.
Absolutely. What a beautiful, beautiful story.
And I think God had a hand in them meeting.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it could very well have not happened out at the airport, but I think God put them there to be married, and they were older, too, to get married, 35 and 38. But, thanks to that call, they got recommunicated back again with each other.
Beautiful. Yeah. And we have you and probably some siblings, Pat, I would guess.
Yes, I have a sister and a brother, and then I had 2 kids, and my brother had 1, and now we have 3 grandsons from the 2 kids.
Oh, beautiful.
Wonderful. The legacy goes on.
And yeah, Pat, you referenced the share-a-thons there. I think I've done all but one of Redeemer Radio share-a-thons in its history, and I'll tell you what, the love I feel from you, Pat, and the people in Fort Wayne, and of course Michiana, South Bend area, Northeast Ohio, or is it Northwest Ohio? I believe Northwest Ohio. It is just overwhelming, and I tell you what, the stuff you wonderful people are made of in that part of the country is phenomenal, and I think I could live there very easily, except my blood is too thin, Pat. The winters might get to me a little bit, but it's just a fantastic community that you are a part of. You are so blessed.
I don't know if you remember, but usually when I make pledges, I make it for some of the priests. Does that ring a bell?
Oh, yes, I do remember.
Yeah, I'm the one that does that.
Yeah, mention a couple of those priests that you pledge in honor of.
Well, I pledge in honor of Father Mark Harrington, who is in Arizona, and then Monsignor John Salzer, I belong to St. Charles, and Monsignor Hessian, Father Ron Ramadan, and then the new one was Father Sarrazin. Does that kind of ring a bell?
It absolutely rings a bell.
Yeah.
You pledge every share-a-thon, Pat, because I love seeing your note and reading those, honoring and those priests when we do that on the air. So thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome, and I hope to see you at the fall share-a-thon.
I'm going to be there, good Lord willing.
Debbie should come to here one time and see how much fun it is.
Yeah, I would love to, because Pat, I can attest to what Jerry's saying. Every time he finishes up with Redeemer Radio's pledge drive, I said, "How did it go?" And he goes, "Oh, I love it there. I just love it there." So I can attest that he does indeed love the fine folks there. So you guys, I would.
It's so much fun. Plus, you get a lot of good food to eat.
Too much.
Well, Pat, if I don't get to actually work there, maybe I'll just come and visit there sometime. So
that would
you never
be really
know.
good.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks,
Looking
Pat.
Looking forward to seeing you, and thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome. Bless you, Pat.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
Bye, Pat. Oh, it's so beautiful. How beautiful is that? Okay, jump in on this to see how it's turning into a spiritual discussion. It always does that way on Take Two, and that's what's so beautiful about the topics that we put forth so that you weigh in on. But you got to call in. You got plenty of time. 1-800-585-9396. That's the number. You'll talk to Matt Gabinski. He's great. In fact, he's so much fun to talk to. Sometimes we just talk to him just because we can. He's just a wonderful guy. And then or you can text us if you don't have a lot of time, if you're busy, you know where we're going with this. Text the letters EWTN to 55000. Okay, next up is Joan, waiting so incredibly patiently. I think you're going to get our virtual patience award, Joan, in Dearborn Heights, Michigan, listening on Ave Maria Radio. Hi, Joan. Welcome to Take Two.
Hi, Debbie. How are you?
Doing great, Joan. How are you?
Oh, just fine. I just wanted to tell you that you, Debbie and Jerry, you have such welcoming voices that people, I think they just are inspired to call or listen or text you. And I have to say, it is sad when you can't reach family, and you try, and they just don't respond. But I think that you have to really be persistent. If email doesn't work or leaving a voice message doesn't work, you have to actually sit down and write a letter. And this year, I sent to all the women in our family these little bracelets. They were Our Lady of Guadalupe. They're actually rosaries, but they were red, and I sent them at Christmas to everybody just as unity, because this is the year of Fatima and the 100th anniversary of Fatima. So I think that being persistent pays off, because this year we had a niece that came in from Seattle for Father's Day weekend, and we had a family gathering. We had several gatherings actually from April, and until we got one coming up on Wednesday. We have another nephew that's in town from Ohio, and the family is going to get together there. I actually had a niece that called me after several years of not communicating with me, and so I thought that was really wonderful too. And so I think that you just have to keep trying,
Well, what you're saying is to really make the effort. If you make that intentional effort to stay together, it does pay off. And that's I think the key to this is that so many times we let time go by, we get busy, or we go on with our life, and before you know it, months pass, and then years, and then you do have that big disconnect with a family member or friend. But to make that effort, like you're saying, Joan, that conscious effort, I think that is. See, that's perfect. I needed to hear that today. And by the way, I just wanted to say your kind words about Jerry and I being very welcoming, and I think you might have said our friendly voices. We're like this off the air, just to let you know. There have been many a times we've been almost asked to leave a restaurant because we're laughing so hard, and especially when we put together our Bitmojis, Joan, this is no joke. I'll let you in on an inside scoop here. We were in a small little Italian restaurant, and we decided to do our Bitmojis, which is those little emojis that you tailor to look like yourself. And Jerry and I were laughing so hard that the wait staff kept coming over going, "Is everything okay? Is everything okay?" And then they wanted to know what we were doing. And by the time we were there for about 2 hours, Joan, I think this small little restaurant couldn't wait for us to leave. So we are really we are really like that off the air as well. But thank you for those kind words.
And I also wanted to thank you for Bay McFarland for her being on the air, because I've been trying for a long time to help her. I mean, I still am, because we're struggling with this Mary's Advocates. And so I'm still working with that, and it's also disheartening when you give the book, The Gift of Self, to a priest, and they don't have time to read it. So I want to thank you for that too, because I was getting just sort of tired of all the rejection that we were getting, and that was very helpful, and it just gave me a little bit more motivation to keep trying to help this situation, because I think that's such a good website also. And I was also very sorry about Jerry's sister dying, but I meant to send you a card, but I just been so busy. So anyways.
That's okay, please,
It amazes me how you're so resilient. You just jump right back in there. You're back to work, because I don't think, I'm not like that. I couldn't be that resilient. So that is amazing. So.
I think I learned I know I learned a lot of that from Mary, my sister, because I'll tell you what, Joan, she was working, she got her diagnosis of this very rare form of cancer. She absolutely worked up until the last day that she couldn't possibly go in anymore. And I mean, that was just probably about 6 weeks before she died. So she was a tough lady, a tough woman, and her death was very, very beautiful. And so thank you for the prayers. Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Okay, so thank you for your show. I think it's one of the best ones on the air right now.
Oh, bless your heart.
Cycles. I think it is, because I think that people that they're good. People are good, but they get tired after a while. The same messages, and this one's good because it's not just dealing with one of the things that we should be doing as Catholics, Christians, but you tend to focus on many things, and I think that is what we have to do.
Thanks, Joan. Thank you so much. And just to be clear, we didn't pay you to say that, correct?
Correct.
All right.
It amazes because you bring up different parts of the scripture, and we really just can't focus on one thing. We have to keep trying to help everything. And I really like hearing about that veteran story, because that's the other thing that our veterans. And I think we're doing really good in the USA trying to take care of our veterans. There's more and more programs happening all the time. So good to hear that story too.
Thanks, Joan.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well, you brightened our day.
I hope so, because you brightened mine.
Thank you, Joan. You're
right,
very
bye-bye.
sweet. All right, bye-bye. I hope to hear from you again. And I should mention, for Joan's benefit and Leslie, who we're going to get to next, and our other callers, and really for everyone who's listening, if you ever have a topic, something that you're experiencing in life, that you've read, that you've seen, that you've gone through in your life, and you think, hey, this would make a good topic for Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, send us an email. This is your show. Mm-hmm. We would love to cover topics that you really feel strongly and passionate about. So you can send an email at take2, the number 2, at EWTN.com, and we would love to work it into our schedule. We're usually about, 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks out in topics, but we can fit it in somewhere. So,
but from the past 2 years, Jerry, a lot of our devoted listeners have sent suggested topics, and we've weaved them in. We've brought them in. So I don't think I think we've taken every single one of them. So please, if you have something that is deep on your heart, please go ahead and email us. Take2. The email is take2, the number 2, at EWTN.com. Oh, and you know what, Jerry? Can I bring up something about the religious catalog, EWTN's religious catalog? Because I really love it. Okay, great. See what I mean, folks, about how we laugh? Okay, so I check the religious catalog every single day. And let me tell you why I do that. Because there's different specials that EWTN highlights. They do a wonderful job keeping us formed in our faith with the resources and all the tools we need, even gifts. I just recently purchased a gift for a baby shower on the EWTN religious catalog. And it's just a great online destination for everything you could imagine. DVDs, Catholic books, rosaries, devotionals, and more. And this is what the key that I love. Okay, dear listeners, please pass this on. This is what I love. Every purchase directly supports EWTN's mission, Mother Angelica's mission. Is that beautiful? See, when you can buy something and then you know it's supporting a mission, to me that's a win-win. So if you're ready to shop, visit EWTNRC.com today, just like I'm going right after the show to see what special highlighted gift they have featured.
All right. 1-800-585-9396. You can join our conversation about how you stay in close touch, connected to loved ones back home. You have to travel for work. Maybe you have a family member going through something, and you say, hey, honey, I gotta be away for a week or two. How do you stay in touch, connected amidst all the busyness? 1-800-585-9396. We say hi to Leslie next in Celeste, Texas. And Leslie is listening to us on Guadalupe Radio. Hi, Leslie. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, Jerry and Debbie. How are y'all?
Better now that you called, Leslie.
Hi, Leslie.
Oh, it's wonderful to speak with you guys. And I just wanted to let you know I have a very dear friend who's a writer, and she sends me lovely, long letters filled with poetry and art that she writes. And she practices her penmanship so that her script is nice. And I love getting her letters. And I used to send her letters back that included also usually quotes from poems or books. I haven't done that. I did call her, but I just wanted to let you know that letters still mean a lot to me as far as communication with loved ones. They contain a lot of love.
Oh, absolutely. What is your friend's first name? May I ask so we can pray for
Oh, that would be wonderful. She does need prayers right now. Her name is Jill, and she lives in California.
Okay. Well, you let Jill. Maybe you can send her a note about she can listen to the rebroadcast of this show, because Jill, that is beautiful that you impart that art and that love through letters. And I wow, that's a forgotten means to connect, and she has really resurrected that. And Leslie, you can tell it has touched your heart. Oh,
very much so. And I have two more friends that. Well, well, one has passed away. She also wrote a lot of cards and letters and included little Catholic prayers or things in there. And then my other friend, we just extemporaneously communicate by cards. But you're right. Jill is such an inspiration. She's beautiful.
Well, we put her in the prayer book, so let her know that prayers will be for her personal intentions. So
I sure will. Thank you, Jerry and Debbie.
You're very welcome, Leslie, and I think the gesture of handwriting a letter is very, very beautiful. That's something that has certainly fallen out of use, and maybe for what we're talking about today, I mean, if somebody's gone for a couple days, a letter may not be practical because you'd be home before the letter would get there. But I find this when you're away from those that you really love for a long, maybe you don't live near them. I think a letter is very beautiful, and it's really interesting, Leslie, that you mentioned this, and Debbie, I'll share this with you too. Is I was thinking about this the other day. I think about and pray for my dad, who's passed away quite often. And he used to, of course, he used to handwrite cards and things. My parents divorced, so we weren't real close. But I'd get that occasional birthday card or Christmas card. He was left-handed, and he had the most beautiful handwriting. He wrote in all capital letters, and it was just meticulously beautiful. That's all I can say about it. So I was just thinking about that the other day. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Leslie. It sort of reminded me again of my father's beautiful handwriting and the cards that he used to send. So just thought I'd share that.
that is amazing. Jerry, you just sparked an image for me because my dad had very unique handwriting too. He actually used to use an index card, and he would have it so perfect. Every line would be absolutely perfect, and I still have some of his. It's so funny you said that, Jerry. See how, Leslie, you just sparked so much in all of us. I bet you those of us are going to go into our drawers and get out those cards that were handwritten for us.
Yeah, and penmanship is such a neat thing anyway.
Well, that's true.
Unfortunately, it's almost a thing of the past. I don't know if it's still taught in school. Is it?
I don't know.
What's it longhand, or what's the when you write it out? Cursive. Thank you.
Cursive,
See, I almost forgot it. Right, but do they teach it anymore in elementary schools? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm sure they must, but it's not long after elementary school that kids stop writing things. And I've always said the computer keyboards of the future are going to have 2 keys, one for each thumb.
Yeah, they might.
That's so true. Wow. Well, Leslie, tell Jill that you guys are great friends, and I think that's wonderful. And what a beautiful, you just raise the bar for all of us. You're making us want to pull out those note cards and write a personal note.
Write some letters.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, and it was wonderful to share the memory too on air. Not the memory, but to share it on air just increases my love for her and how special that is. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well,
thank
you have a
Leslie.
beautiful day. Yes.
You too. I will.
All right. On social media, you can let us know your thoughts. Every day we're on the air. Facebook, EWTN Catholic Radio, or the YouTube chat. And Vivian said, I have a child who relocated to attend university, and after graduation, she was fortunate to find employment in that city. So we set phone call dates to check in and chat at midweek and on Saturday mornings. It is our special girl talk chat dates when we talk on the phone. I love that time when we share and catch up. Isn't that beautiful, Debbie? A mom and a daughter.
Yeah,
staying
I love
connected
that.
Like that.
Well, and especially to look forward to the times that you're gonna connect. I think that's really cool too, to build that excitement. By the way, you didn't ask me how Marty and I stay in touch.
Oh, that's right. I was going to do that, and we're running short on time. So,
all right. Do you want to ask me real
share
quick?
It. Out with it.
We are the king and queen of texting. We are.
With Bitmojis, I'll bet.
With Bitmojis, that's right. And Marty's got a really cool one. I should put that up sometime because it looks just like him as well. But yeah, texting, that's our choice. Okay, is it May or is it May in Salisbury, North Carolina, listening on Sirius XM 130. May, did I get it correct?
Yes, you did. I'm actually from
Hi,
Scotland
May.
originally, but I live in North Carolina. I've lived there for 20 years. So, no, I was just making the comment to your screener about the fact that when I lived in Scotland, I was part of a healing ministry that was for people who were separated, widowed, or divorced, called the Beginning Experience. And we used to talk about something called hot henning, which was when you would go to write out your feelings and your emotions that were in your head, you would discover that while you were writing, there were things that would come to mind that you would write that you didn't realise you were thinking about. And I think that connection's been lost somewhat in the whole expression of who we are as people because of the texting and the typing. I don't think it's got the same kind of connection between writing by hand and typing out. I think there's a completely different way of expressing ourselves. It's quite sad, really. I think even I used to love to letter write, but it's not something I would do nowadays. And I do feel that the connection to other people has been lost somewhat because of that.
So, May, just to clarify for people that are listening, when you're talking about the healing ministry you're a part of, to let the pen kind of just flow out of a person's inner emotions, then
exactly.
Right, and when you were texting or anything, you're losing that sense of a deep emotion. Yeah, I would agree with you 100%. I can tell you, my husband and I have had quite a few arguments over texting, and they were miscommunications.
Yeah, definitely. I've just had one with my son about 20 minutes ago, and I was like, that would never have happened if I'd been writing a letter.
That's true. That's true. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Wow, so that's good to know. We need to remember that it doesn't cover truly the fullness of who we are by these short bursts of typing and texting. And I wholeheartely agree with you, May. And I love the ministry that you're in. Keep it up. We need more healing in this world, and from in all ways. And you're doing that, and you've answered God's call, obviously. So that's beautiful. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks, May, for calling in to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, getting set to wind up here. And that, again, I think we've done a show similar to this, Debbie. There's really a hierarchy of communication, if you will, and obviously face-to-face, being right there with somebody when that's possible. Sometimes it's not, but I think you're going to get the fullest type or form of communication when you're face-to-face with somebody, obviously, because you can explain what you mean, facial expressions,
right.
And you being Italian, you see the hands waving around and stuff like that. So.
Exactly.
But, I think as we kind of get set to wrap up this discussion here, what gifts we have been given, even though there can be misunderstandings, miscommunications, sometimes in electronic communication. The age that we live in, Debbie, is absolutely phenomenal. From anywhere in the world, any time of the day, you could be looking at somebody that you love who's thousands of miles away, maybe your spouse, maybe your kids. And
right.
So we really need to, thank God for these means of technology.
Absolutely. I mean, we couldn't have done that, 50, 60 years ago. But now, you're right, Jerry, we can stay connected if we just make that effort. I go back to what Joan said in Dearborn Heights. We've got to be persistent and make that effort to stay connected, especially as a Christian community. I mean, we are family. So I think this was a wonderful topic, Jerry, and a wonderful discussion. I know I've changed just a little bit. There's a few people I need to reach out to, and I'm sure we all do. So another great show by our listeners.
Yeah, and we heard from Grace in Nigeria. She says she always connects with her children every morning via text messages. And we heard from Carmen. Actually, pray for Carmen. She's got 3 daughters. 2 live far away, and she hardly ever hears from them. She lives alone and is not in good health. So, Carmen, we're going to pray for you as well. And Debbie, here we go. We're off to a good start for another week of Take Two.
Oh, absolutely. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about, are you proud of your child again? Maybe your child fell out of your good graces and now you're proud again. We want to hear the stories, the comeback stories for your children. Until tomorrow, we want to wish you a beautiful and blessed day. See you real soon.